19 Arizona National Hereford Cattle Show. Our judge today is Mr. Nick Fitzsimmons from Perry, Oklahoma. Mr. Fitzsimmons grew up on a Simmental seedstock operation in western Iowa. Growing up and exhibiting cattle across the country and livestock judging sparked a passion that eventually led him to Black Hawk East College and then on to Texas Tech University, where he was on a highly successful livestock judging team. After serving as the assistant livestock judging coach at Texas Tech, Nick took a position with Sunglow Feeds. Nick currently serves as the cattle show feed specialist. Nick, along with his wife, Ashley, and their son, Lander, own and operate Fitz Genetics, a multi-phase cattle operation in Perry, Oklahoma. Their operation strives to raise and sell high-quality functional cattle across multiple breeds. Nick has judged numerous state and national shows across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nick Fitzsimmons. We're going to be moving into the Hereford division today. We're going to be looking for Class 1. Spring heifer calves, calved March 1st of 2019. We're looking for entries number 6140, Tracy Dickens from Campbell, Texas. Entry number 6885, Charlie Lemos of Placerville, California. Entry number 6139, Tracy Dickens from Campbell, Texas. Entry number 6966, Mountain View Ranch, Elgin, Arizona. And entry number 7110, Kaylin Oaks of Taloga, Oklahoma. We would like to thank our arena sponsors, Allplex, the Arizona Hereford and Angus Association, Vans Hail Sales, Behringer Ingelheim, the British White Association of America, Empire Power Systems, GNC Water and Ice, Hilton Garden Inn, Phoenix, Midtown, IBDA, JBS, Lincoln Cattle Company, Mountain States Wholesale Nursery, the Red Angus Association of America, RV Rental Outlet, Sanderson Ford, Showbloom, Showcoat, Stokes, the Sullivan Supply Company, Weaver Leather Livestock, Western Ag Life Media, WW Rodeo Systems Live, YGB Leggets. Let's give them a big round of applause for their sponsorships. If you're hungry, thirsty, or looking for a great place to relax, head on over to the Hacienda Bar and Grill for great food and drinks and fun. They have a full lunch menu, cornhole, TV, and like I said once, a great place to hang out and relax. Class 2 Junior Heifer Calves, calved January through February of 2019, please be ringside. Class 2 Herefords, please be ringside.
Well, excited to be back in the ring here at the Arizona National, and a great place to start here in the Hereford show. Really takes the pressure off of a show judge when Class 1 brings the heat, and I think both this pair in front of us have a lot of neat pieces. The one that we used to win, quite a bit more ready for this particular show, and I think she still has some awfully unique pieces. It all starts at the surface. Good footed, sound structure, gets out and goes extremely comfortable. Like how loose spine that one is when we send her into motion. Her body shape and maternal look here from the side profile is unmatched in this particular class. I think one that puts it all together is an extremely high quality look. By comparison, back to our second place, we could maybe tidy her up just a shade in terms of her throat latch, mash her tail head down in the top side of her skeleton ever so slightly, but that's getting critical. The female puts a lot of neat things together. The heifer in second, she's a bit younger, and I think she matches that as we study them here visually. A heifer that's bold in terms of her body type, but not near as advanced in terms of the depth and sweep to the base of her rib. Outside of that, a good-looking rascal, high-headed, one that's neat in terms of her shoulder, gives you an overall eye-appealing, attractive look here from the side profile. The biggest reason why she sorts into second for me personally, because it doesn't bug me, she's just a bit greener in terms of her body. She doesn't set down with near as much authority or comfort out of her hip and hind leg, but certainly a female gives you a good look here on the stand. The one that comes out in third, the next one that I think has that broody body shape, sound and comfortable on the go. As we compare it back to those two directly ahead of her, like to see her just a bit smoother about her shoulders, see her just a bit more feminine in terms of her overall look from her shoulders forward. Keep moving down the line. The heifer that comes out next, like that one's stoutness, her dimension, her feature at the surface. A female for me personally, just too streamlined in terms of her body shape. I can see a bit more sweep and turn back to her rear and flank. Make her look just a bit more like a lady here from the side profile. And the heifer that closes, again, one bold body, massive, dimensional when you study her from that three-quarter shot, or as you get right in behind the cattle. She is just a bit more jammed up about her shoulder. I can see it set further back in the angle to her shoulder and knee. I think that take her neck a shade higher to the top side of her shoulder and give her a bit more look and eye feel here from the side profile. Great class. Let's give all those exhibitors a round of applause.
Results from Class 1. Congratulations to entry number 6885, Charlie Lemos of Placerville, California. In second place, entry number 7110, Kaylin Oaks of Tologa, Oklahoma. In third, entry number 6139, Tracy Dickens of Campbell, Texas, Arizona. In fourth, entry number 6966, Mountain View Hereford Ranch of Elgin, Arizona. And in fifth, entry number 6140, Tracy Dickens of Campbell, Texas. Moving on to class number 2, Junior Heifer Calves, calved January through February of 2019. Entry number 7036, Ellis McFarland from Cottonwood, California. Entry number 6269, Aaron Tanasic from Minden, Nevada. Entry number 6962, Ivy Allen from Sonoya, Arizona. Entry number 6590, Lily Massapos from Los Olivios, California. Entry number 5418, Charlie Spindle from Morarty, New Mexico. Entry number 7114, Cameron Oaks from Tologa, Oklahoma. And entry number 5432, William Spindle from Morarty, New Mexico.
I really like how these calf classes are coming together. The one that we use is my kind at the surface. Love that one's foot size. The shape of her hoof I think is awfully impressive. Her added just overall stoutness, the feature at the surface really sets the stage for what she has from there up, and still so comfortable in terms of the way that she gets out and go. The biggest reason for me why she beats the Hereford in second, she's just set further back, and the angle to her shoulder and knee allows her to get out and go with just more true comfort out of her front end. Because of that, she stays more relaxed in terms of where her natural head carriage is, the way she comes back into her spine. Really like that one's body shape. She's not the one that's the absolute deepest that we'll see here today. I think she's extremely fresh and honest in terms of her rib shape. That's something that really means a lot to me. I think a heifer that really stands out in this particular class got a lot of neat things going for her. The heifer in second, one that I think you like in terms of just her proportions here from the side. Smooth about her shoulder, one that's still neat in terms of her throat latch and chest, one that comes back into the right kind of rib cage as we study her here from the side profile. On the stand, everything makes sense on that one. We send her into motion and compare her back to that class winner, one that I'd like to see set further back in the angle to her shoulder and knee. I'd like to see her just a bit more honest in terms of where her toes hit the surface up front. When you also compare her back to that class winner, she gets quite a bit flatter in terms of her hard and forward, not near as much just true dimension right there in the center portion of her body. The heifer that rolls out next is green as any of them in this particular class. I think all the pieces are there to be an extremely functional cow and still awfully successful show heifer, one that gets out and goes extremely comfortable off of both ends. I like that one, just overall maternal look here from the side profile. We compare her back to that pair directly ahead of her. She's just outmassed here today, but again, a sound, functional female that's right and honest in terms of her composition, one that looks like a lady. That kind will always work. The heifer that rolls out next, an absolute beast in this lineup. Overall dimension and power all favors this particular female. One that as we study her and the longer she's out here, she's built just to shape straighter off of both ends. I'd like to neaten her up in terms of her shoulder and overall joint work. She's just a bit coarser than what I'd like to see. Like a lot of things about the heifer that rolls out next, long bodied, fresh, bold in her upper rib cage. Just needs to see a bit more drop and sweep to the base of her rib cage. Then I think she moves up a spot because she's built right at the surface. The heifer that rolls out next, long bodied, again, one that I like in the turn to the upper portion of her rib. Like to see a bit more turn and sweep to the base of her rib cage. One that we'd like to see with just a bit more look and eye appeal from her shoulders forward. See her just a bit square in terms of her movement out of her hip and hind leg. The one that rolls out next, I think a low input, real efficient kind of a female, is certainly working production because she's got that right kind of body shape, a bit more modern in her type and kind. For me personally, she just needs a bit more look and overall pizzazz as we study them from the side profile. Certainly a nice female that represents a good kind. Congratulations.
Congratulations to entry number 7114, Cameron Oaks of Tologa, Oklahoma. In second place, entry number 5418, Charlie Spindle of Morarty, New Mexico. In third place, entry number 7036, Ellis McFarland of Cottonwood, California. In fourth place, entry number 5432, Cash Spindle, Morarty, New Mexico. In fifth place, entry number 6962, Ivy Allen of Sonoyta, Arizona. In sixth place, entry number 6269, Aaron Tanasic of Minden, Nevada. And in seventh place, entry number 6590, Lily Massapos of Los Olivios, California. We are now going to be bringing back in our first and second place class winners for our Junior Heifer Calf Champion Drive division. Looking for entry number 6885, Charlie Lenmos of Placer, California. Entry number 7114, Cameron Oaks of Tologa, Oklahoma. Entry number 7110, Caitlin Oaks of Tologa, Oklahoma. And entry number 5418, Charlie Spindle of Morarty, New Mexico.
Well, I think the no surprise, we end up with an extremely high-quality lineup out of these calf classes, and these two class winners, and certainly the seconds, great representation of that. I think the two females that we have here out of those two classes are certainly females that have some neat pieces. They're different in the way that they're assembled. The effort that we have here out of this first class, I think the big thing that both these females have working towards them are they're extremely sound at the surface. Past that, a female here that has just a bit more drop and sweep to the base of her rib cage here from the side profile. A female that you like a lot of things about just in terms of her smoothness, the way she's put together in transitions from her shoulder back into her heart and forearm. When we analyze her further and compare her back to the heifer directly behind her, I don't know that she's near as opened up and bold in terms of her full rib shape genuinely, and then back into the center portion of her skeleton from that 3/4 shot. I'd like to see her just a bit neater in terms of where her tail head lays into the top side of her skeleton. You want to talk about a sound, comfortable heifer that has that right kind of look from the side profile. This female has an awfully bright future. The heifer that comes out of that second class, as I said there a minute ago, I think certainly one that suits me in terms of her foot size and shape, her comfort at the surface, to be that stout feature to move the way that she does and stay so collected in her top line, I think is awfully impressive for me personally. And as I look at these calf classes, one that I think is so fresh and honest in terms of her composition, and with all that being said, still bold in terms of her rib cage, has the right kind of dimension when you step right in behind her. I think certainly a female that puts a lot of neat things together. Not taking anything away from the seconds, it's pretty straightforward for me out here today. Young lady's going to be our champion, young man's going to be reserved. Congrats.
Congratulations, your division champions could belong to entry number 7114, Cameron Oaks of Tologa, Oklahoma. Your reserve champion division winner belongs to entry number 6885, Charlie Lemos of Placerville, California. Next in the ring is going to be class number 4, senior heifer calves, calved August through October of 2018. We are looking for a single entry, entry numbers 2932. Quentin Busaletto from Yuma, Arizona.
Kick off this next division. We got a single entry out here, dark red female, good pigmented. I think one that certainly represents a good kind in terms of her overall mature weight. One that's certainly efficient in terms of the way she's put together, low input kind of a female. As we analyze this one further and think back to what we've seen thus far today, I'd like to just freshen her up and lengthen her out everywhere, but certainly from an individual standpoint. Like this one's added dimension, her easy keeping look, and certainly one that can give you an overall eye-appealing presence here from the side profile. Congratulations.
Congratulations to your division winner of the fall heifer calf. It's entry number 2932, Quinn Busaletto from Yuma, Arizona. Next in the ring is going to be class number 7, spring yearling heifers, calved March through April 2018. We're looking for entry number 7117, Cameron Oaks of Tologa, Oklahoma. If we could have our division champion in reserves, please be ringside. At the conclusion of this class, we're going to be moving into our champion Hereford female division. This is going to be a first call for Hereford Bulls. Please be making your way ringside.
Well, I think certainly an impressive female here, and one that I think if you start at the surface, and if that's where you like to build cattle from, this is one that you can really be drawn to. Again, you'll hear me sound like a broken record because it's something that means a lot to me. That one's foot size and shape is impressive. The way she gets out and goes with that kind of comfort up at both ends of her skeleton, I think is what we all need to try to base these cattle around. As you work your way up, one that I think certainly has plenty of dimension in terms of her upper rib cage. Her pin set still lays it smooth onto her body, gives you an awfully good look from her shoulders forward. If you could change this heifer, and it's where I'd like to see her just a shade better. She has enough depth to the base of her rib, but more from an eye appeal look here from the side profile. I'd like to see a bit more drop to the base of her rib, a bit more sweep back into her rear rib and flank, but certainly a dimensional, sound structured female that gives you a neat look from shoulders forward. Congratulations.
Congratulations to your division winner, the Spring Yearling Heifer Champion. Belongs to entry number 7117, Cameron Oaks of Tologa, Oklahoma. We're going to be moving right into our champion female division. We're looking for entry number 7114, Cameron Oaks of Tologa, Oklahoma. Entry number 2932, Quinn Basaletto from Yuma, Arizona. Entry number 7117, Cameron Oaks of Tologa, Oklahoma. And our reserve, we're looking for entry number 6885, Charlie Lemos of Placerville, California. At the conclusion of our champion female drive, the bull show, we will be taking backdrop pictures at the west end of the cattle barn.
Well, certainly an exceptional Hereford show, and if you'll do me a favor, if you're standing ringside, put your hands together for these exhibitors out here today. Certainly a set of cattle that have a great deal of utility, a breed that means a lot to me. I didn't grow up in the Hereford ring, but I married into it is how I like to explain it. My wife grew up on a Hereford operation. It's a kind of cattle that we try to raise at home. It's not always the easiest, but they're good doing cattle, and cattle that are built right at the surface that can work in a wide range of environments, and I think we see cattle out here that can do that to a very high degree, and then still have some show ring look and added eye appeal, and then that's the kind that I think we could all get behind. As we look back across this lineup, we'll talk these heifers real quick. The one out of that first division, one that, as you heard me say a bit ago, I really like that one in terms of the way she's assembled at the surface, her stoutness of feature, her comfort up at both ends, just the way that she floats around the ring is awfully impressive. Fresh in terms of her composition, honest in terms of her rib cage, dimensional, and still lays it smooth onto her body. I think that one is certainly awfully nice as we stand here and look at her today, and got an extremely bright future. The dark red heifer that comes out of that next division, low input, one that's moderate, easy keeping in her type and kind, certainly broody right there in terms of her mid-rib and dimensional as you step right in behind her. By comparison to the females on either end of her, I don't know that she has near as much just reach and clearance off both ends of her skeleton. A female I'd like to see freshened up in terms of her composition and just pulled apart everywhere in terms of her overall extension here from the side profile. The heifer that stands directly behind her is basically exactly that in terms of what I just described. She's longer, more extended everywhere, a bit more elevated in terms of her type and kind. One that gets out and goes extremely comfortable in terms of her lower joint work. We could change that one. Just like to see a bit more drop and sweep back to her rear and flank. Maybe see her just a bit further along in calf, but certainly one that's built right at the surface and really get out and go. The reserve division out of that calf division, one that I think is certainly impressive in terms of the way she's put together to the base of her rib cage, how she's so tucked up and neat in terms of her chest floor, has that kind of sweep right there in terms of her rib cage. Her comfort off of both ends is awfully impressive. one thing we said there earlier, and it's more from a comparative standpoint, I'd like to maybe see her a bit fuller in terms of her heart and forehead, but she's still plenty green in terms of her composition. Got some awfully neat parts. Do me a favor one more time, put your hands together for all Hereford exhibitors. I'll get you a champion ring too.
Congratulations to entry number 7114, Cameron Oaks of Tologa, Oklahoma. Your reserve champion belongs to entry number 7117, Cameron Oaks of Tologa, Oklahoma. Our champion female banner has been sponsored by Three River Ag Investments, Mr. Jack Dowdy. She's also going to be receiving a show halter that has been donated by Larry and Phyllis Stark. And our reserve champion banner is sponsored by the Arizona National Livestock Show. Just a quick reminder, we're also going to be taking banner pictures inside the west end of the cattle barn at the backdrop at the conclusion of the bull show. First call, Class 32, Junior Bull Calves. Please be ringside. Class 2, Class 32, Bull Calves. Please be ringside. Now that we are finished becoming Instagram famous with Mr. Nick Fitzsimmons, we're going to be moving into class number 32, Junior Bull Calves, calf January through February of 2019. We're looking for entry number 6964, Mountain View Hereford Ranch from Elgin, Arizona. Entry number 6965, Mountain View Ranch, Hereford Ranch of Elgin, Arizona. Entry number 6963, Mountain View Hereford Ranch of Elgin, Arizona. Entry number 6870, Bill King of Morarty, New Mexico. At the conclusion of our bull show, we will be moving over to the west end of the cattle barn for our official Arizona National Livestock backdrop photos. So the Grand and Reserve Champion female and bull will be required to take the official picture. Thank you.
Just one class of bulls. This is a division and then champion overall. I think an awfully nice set of four that we have out here. I think a set of bulls that can work in a wide range of environments, a set of bulls that certainly have a lot of real world value to them, and certainly can work in production. I think that's something that we all have to keep in mind. The bull that we use here to win, one for me, is a bit greener in terms of his overall composition. I actually don't mind that whatsoever. A bull that I think you're seeing a bit more in his working clothes, and one that's still built right at the surface. Like that one's angle at the surface. I like his added just length and overall performance. He still gives you a show ring look here from the side profile if that's what your goal is, but he has that added length and performance, can really inject some added pounds into the next generation. I think certainly has the flexibility to make some awfully nice daughters. I prefer that one's just scrotal development and the way that it sits up in there. One that I think certainly reads right in terms of the way he's put together here from the side profile, and again can work in a wide range of environments. The bull that we have here standing in second, I think one that's certainly packed full of muscle. I like that one's added stoutness, a feature at the surface. He's opened up and massive in terms of his center body. A bull for me just a bit quick in terms of his type and kind. One that's just a bit more jammed up in terms of his length and extension as we study him here from the side profile. But you want to talk about a big-footed, stout feature, just massive bull that could certainly inject some dimension into the next generation. I think that's a bull you certainly got to go ask about. The ones that come here in 3 and 4, a bit more alike in their type and kind than they are different for me. I think certainly one that we have standing here in front of us, proportions just a bit neater from his chest back into his rear rib and flank. One that is just a bit deeper in terms of his center body, fresh and honest in terms of his composition. Again, I think he reaches comfortably off of both ends. He's a bit fragile for me at the surface. I'd like to see him just a bit bigger and squarer in terms of his foot size. A bull that's just outmassed here today as we compare him back to those two directly ahead of him. The bull that comes out next is just a bit more dimensional in terms of his center body as we study him from that 3/4 shot. He's got plenty of power as you step right in behind him. I think he runs the wrong way from chest to flank. One that I'd like to see just a bit smoother about his shoulder, and certainly like to see him just a shade bigger in terms of his foot size. Awesome set of bulls there. If you came to the show looking for one to buy, I think there's one, all four of those certainly have a place depending on what your outlook is on your operation. Congratulations to our bull exhibitors.
Congratulations, your 2019 Grand Champion Hereford Bull belongs to entry number 6870, Bill King of Merarty, New Mexico. Your 2019 Reserve Champion Hereford Bull belongs to entry number 6965 of Mountain View Hereford Ranch of Elgin, Arizona. champion banner in the bull show has been sponsored by Buckman Springs Cattle Company. The show halter that they will be receiving was sponsored by Mountain View Ranch of Hereford, Elgin, Arizona. And our reserve champion bull banner has been sponsored by the Arizona National Livestock Show. Once we are finished taking our pictures here in the ring, we're going to move over to the west end of the cattle barn, where we will take the official backdrop picture. Peyton Mortensen, Escalon, California. All shorthorn cattle should be ringside.
Do you know what time they select the overall grand tonight?
I lost my paper.
It's alright.
That's right.
Nick grew up on a Simmental seed stock operation in western Iowa, growing up exhibiting cattle across the country and exhibiting livestock sparked a passion that eventually led him to Black Hawk East College and then on to Texas Tech University, where he was on a highly successful livestock judging team. After serving as the assistant livestock judging coach at Texas Tech, Nick took a position with Sunglow Feeds. Nick currently serves as the cattle cattle show feed specialist. Nick, along with his wife Ashley and son Lander, own and operate Fitz Genetics, a multi-phase cattle operation in Perry, Oklahoma. Their operation strives to raise and sell quality functional cattle across multiple breeds. Nick has judged numerous state and national shows across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, our judge today, Mr. Nick Fitzsimmons. Entering the ring now is going to be class number 1, Spring Heifer Calves, calved March 1st of 2019. We're looking for entry numbers 6685, Shaylee Owen of Bayfield, Colorado. Entry number 6542, Peyton Mortensen of Escalon, California. Entry number 7532, KR Cattle of Cheyenne, Wyoming. And entry number 6541, Peyton Mortensen of Escalon, California.
I think a nice way to start here in a shorthorn show, and again, excited to sort through your shorthorn cattle. I'm assuming it'll be a good set if it's anything like we've seen thus far. The white heifer that we used to win, kind of a standout in this particular lineup. Not only is she the soundest at the surface, the stoutest featured. She's the most paternal in terms of the sweep to the base of her rib. She's easily the most attractive from her shoulders forward. Just kind of a lights out class winner to start off here in our shorthorn show. Young lady's doing a nice job getting her shown. This redneck roan that we have rolling out next, no question, she is the most dimensionalized, the most outward curvature to her center body. She has the most just true shape and dimension as you step around behind her. I'm not a guy that needs to pack heifers full of muscle, and so with all that being said, she gets just a shade coarser about her shoulder. The heifer, for me personally, needs to be set back in her angles off either end of her skeleton. I think if that were to happen, then she could really get out and go, move with a bit more flexibility, and then work up in this class. All that being said, she's still one that's stout and powerful, has plenty of dimension to breed on. The red and white heifer that rolls out next, smoother shouldered, longer, more extended, one that certainly has a longer, leveler hip, and I actually prefer the way this one sets down at the surface. She's completely outmatched in terms of the dimension and overall curvature she has to her center body, and so we work her down the lineup. I think if that one ever does mass up and just body down, then that middle pair gets awfully close. The heifer that closes, one that certainly gives you a good look from shoulders forward, awfully feminine and youthful in that regard, neat in terms of her chest floor, just been out horsed here today. Like to see that one stouter featured as you study her from that 3/4 shot, and then again at the surface, like to see her set down with just more true comfort out of her hip and hind leg. Nice class there, and awfully nice class winner to start off our shorthorn show.
Congratulations to your class winner, entry number 6542, Peyton Mortensen of Escalon, California. In second place, entry number 6541, also Peyton Mortensen of Escalon, California. In third place, entry number 7532, KR Cattle of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Rounding out the class is 6685, Shaylee Owen of Bayfield, Colorado. Entering the class now is going to be class number 2, Junior Heifer Calves, calved January through February of 2019. We're looking for entry number 6592, Lily Mastopos of Los Olivos, California. Please make sure our first and second place of Class 1 are ringside. At the conclusion of this class, we'll be moving in to our Junior Heifer Champion Drive.
Awfully nice shorthorn heifer here, a dark red female that I think does a lot of things awfully right, and relative to this breed, brings a lot of stoutness of feature, added dimension as you study her from behind, still lays it smooth onto her body. One that I think certainly like in terms of her center body dimension, just her easy keeping look, and still proportions correctly from the side, like that one when she gets out and goes. Biggest thing, if we could change her, maybe take her neck a shade higher to the top side of her shoulder, see her with just a bit more extension, but shoulders back, that one's an awfully nice cow. I think certainly going to be extremely competitive here in the show ring as well. Congratulations.
Congratulations to your class winner, entry number 6592, Lily Mastopos of Los Olivos, California. We're now going to be bringing in from Class 1, entry number 6542, Peyton Mortensen of Escalon, California. And our second place from Class 1, entry number 6541, Peyton Mortensen of Escalon, California. And from Class 2, entry number 6592, Lily Mastopos of Los Olivos, California.
Certainly a nice way to start off our shorthorn show here in this first division. I think both these class winners are awfully nice. It comes down to these two class winners for me. They're pretty different in their type and kind. The white heifer that comes out of that first class, neat looking, smooth shouldered, gives you that extended feminine look up through her front 1/3. I think here from the side profile, that one gives you an awfully maternal look. We send them into motion. In that particular class, she was a standout in terms of her structural build over the remainder of the class. As we get her back out here and compare her back to the heifer directly behind her, I'd like to square her up in terms of the way she uses her hop going away from you ever so slightly, but still sets down soft at the surface. The biggest thing, she's not near as bold in terms of her heart and forward in comparison to the heifer behind her, but dang sure a nice looking smooth made heifer that's going to be awfully competitive in the show ring. The red heifer that comes out of that second class, at first glance she's not near as smooth or tight clipped as some of the things we'll see over the next couple days, but that one's basic parts and pieces I think are awfully nice. Big footed, stout featured, comfortable in terms of her angles. Really like that one's body shape and cowy look right there through the middle portion of her skeleton. One that I think certainly you like as you step back off her in terms of her overall proportions here from this side. She's maybe not the absolute longest necked one that we'll see, or even in this particular division. I think she's still plenty adequate in that regard. I think that one's certainly going to be an awfully nice cow. For me, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to use the red heifer to be our champion. White heifer is going to be reserved. Congratulations.
Congratulations to entry number 6592, Lily Mastopos of Olivos, California. And your reserve champion is entry number 6542, Peyton Mortensen of Escalon, California. We will now be moving into class number 7, early spring yearling females, calved March through April of 2018. Looking for a single entry, entry number 6274, Taylor White of St. John's, Arizona.
Certainly an awfully nice strawberry roan female here, and one that has some absolute power parts. I think would be an awfully nice donor for this young lady to go home and breed on, make the next generation better. As you heard me say there earlier, relative to the population here in this breed, I like this one's added stoutness of feature at the surface, her added dimension as you study her there from that 3/4 shot. And as I said there earlier, I don't think we need to make these heifers heavy muscled, but I think they still got to have the right kind of dimension. When you study them from that 3/4 shot, still have enough genuine basic build and just squareness underneath. This heifer does that all very, very well. Still gives you an awfully nice eye-peeling look here from the side profile. If you could change that one, like to maybe see her just a shade neater about her shoulder, like to see her just a shade neater in terms of where her tail head sits into her body, but certainly a lot of good things going for that heifer there. Young lady doing an exceptional job getting her shown. Congratulations.
Congratulations to your division champion. Entry number 6274, Taylor White of St. John's, Arizona. We will now be bringing back in our division champion and reserve champions for our champion shorthorn female selection drive. Entry number 6592, Lily Mastapos of Los Olivos, California. Entry number 6274, Taylor White of St. John's, Arizona. And our reserve is going to be entry number 6542, Peyton Mortensen of Escalon, California. At the conclusion of our champion drive, we will be making our way over to the west end of the cattle barn for our official backdrop photos of our champion and reserve champion females.
Certainly a nice set of short-horn females here. Put your hands together for these exhibitors. They brought us an awfully nice set. I think a set of 3 young ladies out here trying to make this breed better. Certainly have some neat pieces in all 3 of these females, and depending on your breeding strategy, I think they certainly can make the next generation better. As we look back across the line, the solid red heifer that we have there in that first division, as you heard me say there a bit ago, like that one's foot size, her comfort out of her hip and hind leg, her body shape to be still fresh in terms of her composition. That bold and dimensional there I think is awfully nice. She's not the absolute longest or freakiest out of her front end, but certainly adequate in that regard. A lot of neat things going for that heifer there. The strawberry roan female comes out of that last division. I think certainly just an absolute power cow. Like that one's added overall feature and dimension as you study her from a 3/4 shot. You step back off her. Everything makes sense on that one in terms of her proportions. Still gives you a good look up through her front 1/3. As we said there a second ago, like to maybe see her a bit neater at the point of her shoulder. Maybe like to tidy her up in terms of where her tail head lays into the top side of her skeleton. Pretty minor criticisms of the female. Does a lot of awfully nice things. For me, again, it's pretty straightforward, and a group of awfully nice shorthorn heifers. The strawberry roan's going to be our champion. The red heifer's going to be reserved.
Congratulations, your champion shorthorn heifer of the 2019 Arizona National Livestock Show is going to be entry number 6274, Taylor White of St. John's, Arizona. And your reserve champion is going to be entry number 6592, Lily Mastapos of Los Olivos, California. Once we take a few quick shots here in the ring, we're going to be making our way over to the backdrop for the official photo. So please, once you're done, make your way over there. Our champion banner, show halter, and reserve champion. Just our champion banner and show halter have been sponsored by the Arizona National Livestock Show. The reserve champion banner has been sponsored by Rancho Santa Ynez, William and Susan Dumont. Our next open cattle show will begin at 2:30 p.m., which will be our All Other Breeds Open Cattle Show. National Livestock Show All Other Breeds Open Cattle Show.
Is this Pac-Man or what is this?
Our judge today in the Open Cattle Show is Mr. Nick Fitzsimmons. Nick grew up on a Simmental seed stock operation in western Iowa. Growing up exhibiting cattle across the country and livestock judging sparked a passion that eventually led him to Black Hawk East College and then on to Texas Tech University, where he was on a highly successful livestock judging team. After serving as the assistant livestock judging coach at Texas Tech, Nick took a position with Sunglow Feeds. Nick currently serves as the cattle show feed specialist. Nick, along with his wife Ashley, son Lander, own and operate Fitz Genetics, a multi-phase cattle operation in Perry, Oklahoma. Their operation strives to raise and sell high-quality functional cattle across multiple breeds. Nick has judged numerous state and national shows across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nick Fitzsimmons. As we begin, we're going to start with class number 1, Spring Heifer Calves, calved on or after March 1st of 2019. Looking for entry number 6212, Kaylee McNibble of Lockney, Texas. 6025, Brock Startwell of Campbellton, Texas. And entry number 6100, Haley Roca of Los Banos, California. Class 2 Junior Heifer Calves, please be ringside. Class 2 Junior Heifer Calves, please be ringside.
Boy, great way to start off our AOB show, and I think as you look across the ring here on all three of these heifers, if you ran in 100 of their contemporaries in their own breed, I think these three still rise to the top quite handily in this respective class. I think there's some interesting differences. The Key Angus heifer that we used to win, I think still a standout in this trio of females, one that I really like in terms of her body shape. That one's look and elevation up through her front end, I think, is awfully impressive. And for one with all that just look and eye appeal here from the side profile, still has some stoutness about her jawline, one that really has some true dimension when you step around and behind her and carries it extremely well when set into motion. Here on the stand, you maybe like to see her angle to her shoulder set back just ever so slightly, but she still uses it well. I think an awfully nice female to start off this particular show. The Charolais female that comes out next, maybe not quite as far along in terms of her condition. That doesn't hang me up at all. I think one that you really like in terms of just her fresh, honest rib shape. One that gets out and goes extremely comfortably off of both ends. One that I like for added length and levelness down her top line. Biggest reason she sorts into second, she's not near as just opened up and massive in her heart and forehead. she's not near as attractive in terms of how she uses her hip and hind leg. One that's always going to be considered functional, just not near as attractive in terms of how she uses it. The Brahman heifer that closes out this particular class, I really like in terms of her comfort and the way that she gets out and goes off of both ends of her skeleton. She's fighting it out here today. I think you can really see that one's pieces. Her look and how feminine she is from her shoulders forward, her bold upper rib cage. She's not near as opened up or massive as you study her here from that 3/4 shot. That's a bit to be expected here with the Brahman. They're a little later maturing. I certainly think that female has a lot of good things going for her. Congratulations to those 3 exhibitors. Certainly a nice way to start off this AOV show.
Congratulations to entry number 6212, Kaylee McLinville of Lockney, Texas. Second place goes to entry number 6100, Kaylee Roca of Los Banos, California. Now entering the ring is going to be class number 2, junior heifer calves, calved January through February of 2019. Looking for entry number 7098, Emily Crum of La Palta, New Mexico. Entry number 6882, Joshua Lemos of Placerville, California. Entry number 6792, Weston Waldron of Canton, Oklahoma. Entry number 6533, Amanda Thomas of Sutter, California. And entry number 3903, Garrett Sanders of O'Donnell, Texas. Will the first and second place class winners of Class 1 please be ringside?
A lot of good differences in this particular class. The heifer that we used to win at first glance, probably the greenest in terms of her condition of any of them out here. That one's pieces are just the best. And it all starts at the surface. One that's good-footed, comfortable, gets out and goes extremely easy off of both ends of her skeleton. When she parks right here, she's not as massive as the 2 females directly behind her, but that one's overall look, the way that her neck comes out of the top side of her shoulder, how smooth she's built in terms of her shoulder, the way she's put together up through her throat, nice and chest is awfully nice. Fresh and honest in terms of her composition, her overall rib shape. Really like that one's hip and hind leg relative to the Charolais breed. Just needs a bit of time and feed, and I think that one's got all the pieces. Extremely nice heifer to start off this particular class. On the other end of the spectrum, the beast is in second. This one's body shape is impressive. Really like the way she comes out of her shoulder with that kind of bold full rib shape. She still comes back with an awfully impressive center body dimension. Comes with some added dimension when you step right in behind her. A female that I think you can certainly call adequate in nearly every regard. By comparison back to our class winner, I like to stouten her up in terms of her foot size relative to her dimension up above. I like to see her get out and go with just a bit more flexibility, specifically in her hip and hind leg. The heifer that comes out in third, one that I do like in terms of just her softness and her lower joints. The way that one reaches out of her hip and hind leg, I think is awfully nice. Bold in terms of her center body. When we compare back to those two directly ahead of her, one that I think wants to run downhill, like to tidy her up in her chest floor, see her just picked up in terms of her pin set. We change all those things in a female. I think you can really appreciate for her stout, big back leg that gets out and goes awfully nice. She's still awfully nice in terms of her center body dimension. The blue roan, I'm assuming short horn plus heifer that rolls out next on the stand, can give you an awfully nice look from her shoulders forward, one that gives you just a feminine, eye-appealing presence, one that comes back and I think certainly proportions correctly in terms of her center body. We send these things into motion. She's just not near as coordinated in terms of her movement out of her hip and hind leg. I'd like to see her truer and just a bit more genuine in terms of where her front feet hit the surface, but certainly on the stand, a good-looking one there in fifth. The heifer that rolls out next, I think certainly one you can appreciate for just her moderate, easy keeping kind, one that's certainly here from the side profile, proportions out correctly. In this particular class, a female has just been out-horsed in terms of her overall look and eye appeal here from the side profile. She's a bit more jammed up from her shoulders forward. Like to pick her up and see her a bit longer out through her hip and stouten her up in terms of her feature at the surface. Awfully nice class there. I think an awfully good class winner. Congratulations.
Congratulations to your class winner, number 6882, Joshua Lemos of Placerville, California. In second place, entry number 6792, Weston Waldrop of Canton, Oklahoma. In third place, entry number 3903, Garrett Sanders of O'Donnell, Texas. In fourth place, entry number 7098, Emily Crum of La Palta, New Mexico. Rounding out the class is entry number 6533, Amanda Thomas of Sutter, California. We will now be bringing back in our first and second place class winners for the Junior Hereford Champ Drive. Entry number 6212, Kaylee McInville of Lockney, Texas. Entry number 6882, Joshua Lemos of Placerville, California. On our second place side, we have entry number 6100, Haley Rocha of Los Banos, California. And entry number 6792, Weston Waldrop of Canton, Oklahoma.
Boy, an awfully nice division here to close out here in this first division of ALB heifers, and a pair of females here that win these first two classes that I think certainly have a lot of neat pieces. They're on opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of their maturity curve. To talk about them real quick, the black heifer, one that I really like just in terms of her cowy center body, her overwhelming outward curvature to her midrib, one that as you set her into motion, I think she even surprises you how good she reaches out of her hip and hind leg and then again out of her front end. Everything makes sense on that female here from the side profile, one that looks to be an awfully nice future donor cow, still going to be awfully competitive here in the ring. If we could change that one, it's mostly from an aesthetic standpoint. On the stand here, she appears a bit more forward in terms of her shoulder. As I said there earlier, she still reaches good out of it, and so I think you can call that a bit of a wash. The Charlotte heifer that wins that second class, here on the stand, I'm drawn to that one in terms of her pieces. Her future, I think, is awfully bright. I like that one's angle off of both ends of her skeleton, how smooth she is up to her shoulder, how neat and feminine she is about her jawline and head. The way that one carries herself down her top line is awfully impressive. There's a pretty significant difference in terms of body mass as you study this one from a 3/4 shot, most specifically in her heart and forerib. So I think if that one comes with just a bit more mass right there in her midrib, there's a lot of good things going for her. I think it's a close pair. For me today, the Black Heifer is going to be our champion. The Charolais is going to be reserved. Congratulations.
Congratulations, your champion belongs to entry number 6212, Kaylee McInville of Lockney, Texas. Your reserve champion belongs to Joshua Lemos of Placerville, California. We're going to take a quick hold here for a second. Moving on to class number 4, senior heifer calves, calves September through October of 2018. Looking for a single entry, entry number 4932, Drew Wagner of Hickory, Mississippi.
Single entry class winner as well as division. I think one that gives you an awfully neat look as you study her here from the side profile and send her into motion. One that gets out and goes extremely comfortably at the surface. Like that one's foot size, the way that she sets down her hip and hind leg, I think her reach is neat. And I think certainly one that's still attractive in terms of her skeleton. Awfully cool in terms of where her shoulder comes out of the top side of her shoulder, but that kind of look and presence is certainly hard to make in one. You could change that one. You'd like to see her just a bit softer in her center spine and pick her up in her pin set ever so slightly to make her overall top line come together just a bit neater. And certainly a lot of good pieces in this heifer here. Certainly one that's deserving of a division championship. Congratulations.
Your division champion belongs to entry number 4932, Drew Wagner of Hickory, Mississippi. Entering the class now, the ring now is going to be class number 5, summer yearling females, calved May through August of 2018. Looking for entry numbers 6827, Blake Peterson of Remington, Indiana. Brock Startwell of Campbellton, Texas.
Boy, an awfully good class here. Never a question where to start. I apologize taking a little extra time. I like looking at good ones, and I think that one, as soon as she comes in the ring, gives you that kind of I'll meet you at the backdrop look. This one's presence from the side is neat. One that I think is awfully good just in terms of her overall stoutness of feature. The way that one's put together from her shoulder up into her front end. Her jawline has some stoutness to it, but she's still cute about her head. Body shape is awfully impressive. One that I think just gives you a killer look here from the side profile. And her added stoutness of feature kind of suggests that she's still going to raise one when she's done. Got some breeding potential. She's not perfect. One that's a little short in terms of her hip. Because of that, she kind of wants to swivel just a shade more out of her hip in terms of the way she hits the ground, but still comfortable at the surface. I really like that one's front end, the way she's put together from her shoulder down into her knee in terms of her angulation. Awfully nice place to start. The red Brahman female that comes out next certainly hit a buzzsaw of a class winner, but she's no slouch by any means. Neat shoulder, takes her neck high to the top side of her shoulder, gives you an extremely feminine look here from the side profile. She too is extremely comfortable in terms of how we set him into motion, the way she sets down at the surface. Bold in terms of her body type. As I said, they're no slouch by any means, just hit a tough class winner. Congratulations to both those exhibitors.
Congratulations to your class winner, entry number 6827, Blake Peterson of Remington, Indiana. Your second place class winner goes to entry number 6027, Brock Startwell of Campbellton, Texas. We're going to be moving on into class number 6, late spring yearling females, calf April of 2018. We are looking for entry number 6789, Weston Waldrick of Canton, Oklahoma. Entry number 6019, J.D. Startwell of Campbellton, Texas.
Her top line relative to that breed, I think is hard to make. The way she carries her center spine and then back over her loin, how she's picked up in terms of her pin set. You study that one from a 3/4 shot, and as neat as she is in terms of her shoulder, she still comes back true in terms of her body shape, still has plenty of true square dimension as you study her back over her hip and then her face width at the surface. Throws her neck up high, gives you a cool look. I think an awfully nice place to start this particular class. Not taking anything away from the Charolais female in second, one that's bigger footed, stouter featured, a bit more modern in her type and kind. If that's the way that you want to go, I wouldn't argue. For me personally, I think we just need to change her in terms of her skeletal build. Set her back in the angle to her shoulder and knee, pick her up in her pin set, and see her set down with a bit more flexibility in her hock. Those are the big things that I need to see change, but certainly a moderate, low input kind of female that on the stand can give you a good look. Congratulations. I think certainly a nice class winner.
Congratulations to your class winner, entry number 6019, J.D. Sartwell of Campbellton, Texas. And your second place class winner belongs to entry number 6789, Weston Waldrop of Canton, Oklahoma. We're going to be moving on to class number 7, early spring yearling females, calved in March of 2018. Looking for single entry number 6788, Weston Waldrop of Canton, Oklahoma. If we could have our first and place class winners ringside, at the conclusion of this class, we'll be moving into our junior female champion drive.
So it's about 45 minutes.
Good heifer here, just not wanting to cooperate. A moderate, stout, dimensional kind of a female. Still gives you a good look from her shoulders forward. One that, as you see her set into motion, although I know she's fighting the halter, she is built just a shade straighter up at both ends. One that I think you'd like to see a bit longer and level her out through her hip. But I do like her moderate, easy keeping look. One that I appreciate for her added dimension right there through her center body and then back out through her hip. Congratulations to this young man.
Congratulations to your class winner, entry number 6788, Weston Waldrop of Kenton, Oklahoma. We're going to be moving right into our division drive.
I'm going to go and see if my brother
Looking for entry number 6827, Blake Peterson of Remington, Indiana. Entry number 6019, JD Startwell of Campbellton, Texas. Entry number 6788, Weston Waldrop of Kenton, Oklahoma. In our second place winners, we're looking for entry number 6027, Brock Sartwell of Campbellton, Texas. Entry number 6789, Weston Waldrop of Kenton, Oklahoma.
Certainly a diverse group here in our AOB show, which I personally enjoy. I like sorting different types and kinds. I like having different types and kinds around at the house. I think it keeps you hunting, keeps you trying to make things better, and we see a lot of good different kinds out here today. The black heifer, I think, kind of a standout. In this particular lineup, one that's body shape is impressive. The way she's put together from the side, her proportions are awfully neat. One that gives you a killer look. For all of her added mass and being at this stage of the game, she's still fairly fresh in terms of her composition, which I truly appreciate. Her angles read really good at this surface. I like that one's foot side. She's maybe a shade shorter out through her hip. That's getting critical of an awfully nice female. The Gray Brahman comes out of that next class. I think one that you really appreciate relative to her breed, how she carries herself down her top line, the way her neck comes out of the top side of her smooth shoulder, the way that it does, how she reaches and still stays picked up in terms of her pin set. All those things are very hard to do versus the remainder of those genetics in that particular breed. She's maybe not near as dimensional or opened up in terms of her center body. Again, her breed wouldn't suggest that she would do that. So it's a bit of apples versus oranges. I think both those females are awfully nice. And then as we come down the line, the heifer that comes out of that last class, easy keeping, big body, certainly one that you like in those regards. One for me, I think just needs picked up off of both ends, set back in the angle to her shoulder and knee. Not taking anything away from the seconds. I think I got two awfully nice class winners and still one standout in this particular division. Young man's going to be our champion. The Brahman's going to be reserved. Congratulations.
Congratulations to your division champion. Entry number 6827, Blake Peterson of Remington, Indiana. Your reserve division champion belongs to entry number 6019, JD Sartwell of Campbellton, Texas. As they exit the ring, we're going to get ready for class number 8. Junior yearling females calved January through February of 2018. Looking for a single entry, entry number 4952, Russ Wagner of Hickory, Mississippi. If we could have all of our division champion and reserve champions ringside at the conclusion of this class, we're going to move right into our champion AOB drive. And then we're going to be moving right into the bull show. We have decided to move the cow-calf class to after the bull show. So please have all bulls ringside.
Awfully nice single entry here, and I think one that can withstand a lot of competition. Like this one's at its size and growth pattern. The way she's put together up to her front end is neat, and still to come back into that kind of cowy body shape is awfully impressive. Fresh in terms of her composition, one that's stout featured at the surface. Now you like to see her set down a bit softer out of her hip and hind leg. She's assembled just a shade straighter in terms of her hock. A lot of good things going for that heifer though. Congratulations to this young man.
Congratulations to your division champion. Entry number 4952, Russ Wagner of Hickory, Mississippi. As we enter the ring, we're looking for entry number 6212, Kaylee McEngle of Lockney, Texas. Entry number 4932, Drew Wagner of Hickory, Mississippi. Entry number 6827, Blake Peterson of Remington, Indiana. And entry number 4952, Russ Wagner of Hickory, Mississippi. On our reserve champion side, we're looking for entry number 6882, Joshua Lemos of Placerville, California. Entry number 6019, J.D. Sartwell of Campbellton, Texas.
Boy, an exceptional lineup here in our AOB show. Please put your hands together for all these exhibitors. They brought us an awesome set. As you'd obviously expect here in the AOBs, we've had a lot of diversity, a lot of representatives from different breeds, and I think certainly some cattle that if you put them back in that breed at next week's jackpot show are going to win all day long. They got some good pieces. We'll go ahead and talk all 6 of these things because I think they're dang sure nice. The one that comes out of that first division, massive, big-bodied, cowie. I think it'll be an exceptional donor cow when she's done. She's still going to hang a lot of banners between now and then. As we said there earlier in the show, you want to get picky at that one. Again, I think it's from an aesthetic standpoint. You maybe like to see her shoulder laid back in her, just a bit neater, but one that still reaches good out of it. I love that one's presence from the side profile and just how cowy she is right there through her midrib. The Charolais heifer that represents that middle division, one that I think you really appreciate for just her freshness right there through her center body. Her elevation, the way she's put together up through her front end is awfully nice. Still has some added dimension when you step right in behind her and gets out and goes with enough comfort off of both ends of her skeleton. In this particular lineup and with the bookends on either side of her, maybe like to see her drop with just a bit more sweep to the base of her rib cage. One that maybe wants to kick up in her center spine just a touch more than what we'd like to see, but certainly a high quality female there. The black heifer, kind of a standout in this particular lineup and for all the right reasons. I like this one's body shape. I like her presence from the side. I love her proportions. One that's good-footed and comfortable at the surface. As we said there earlier in class, not one of them's ever perfect, but one here that maybe like to see a shade longer out to her hip and see her get out and go with just a bit more coordination. But as I said there, her joints are good. Her comfort off of both ends is awfully nice. I think she's still good in terms of her center spine. And then when she gets parked like that, you can really appreciate that female there for all that she brings to the table. The Charolais female that comes out of that last division, one that you certainly like again here for her fresh, bold body type, her look from her shoulders forward, one that comes with some added foot size and feature. I think you'd like to change her ever so slightly at the surface, see her set down with a bit more comfort in her hop. And the longer she's out here, she's wanting to splay out a bit more out of her front end than what I'd like to see. But a lot of good real world value in that particular female. The green Charolais female that comes out of that first class, I think you really like that one just in terms of what she projects, in terms of her future pieces, her comfort at the surface, her look and eye appeal from the side, just needs time and feed. And then the Brahman female, if anybody was surprised that I use that one in division for reserve, then you need to analyze this female a bit harder, because I think that one's right in terms of her feet and legs. Because of that, she's so honest in terms of how she carries her top line, the way her neck comes out of the top side of her shoulder, how she moves out of her hip relative to that breed is awfully impressive. She's a bit outmasked here today, right there through the center portion of her skeleton. She maybe could use a bit of foot size, but certainly a high quality female there. I think certainly extremely high quality lineup. Real quick, and it's a bit of a side note, and I'm going to try to say it fast so I don't tear up. Remember what you're doing here at the Arizona National. Got a nice little crowd standing ringside. Appreciate the people that are standing next to you. One of my best friends growing up in a family that I showed with all my young life is laying their youngest daughter and sister to rest today, a freak accident. And she had a saying there in her room, we didn't know that we were making memories, we just knew we were having fun. And so while you're here at the Arizona National this week, have fun, appreciate the people that are standing next to you. I love cow showing, and this is good stuff right here. We got some good ones out here. I'm gonna go get you a champion reserve.
Congratulations, your champion AOB heifer of the 2019 Arizona National Livestock Show belongs to entry number 6827, Blake Peterson of Remington, Indiana. Your reserve champion belongs to entry number 6212, Kaylee McGindle of Lockney, Texas. We're going to take a few Instagram photos real quick. We're going to move into our bull show. Well, after the bull show, we're going to move right into the cow-calf show. And then after that, we're going to take all of the champion and reserve champions over to the west end of the cattle barn for the official backdrop photo.
single entry bull here in our AOB show, but certainly a lot of good in this particular female. A bull that comes with smatted stoutness of feature, long bodied, one that gives you a good look up through his front 1/3, still reaches correctly up on both ends. He's a bit greener here today, looks like one that maybe took a bit of a growth spurt. Like to see him drop with just a bit more body shape, and a lot of good in that bull there. Congratulations to this young man. Brought us a nice string today.
Congratulations to entry number 6020 on the 2019 Arizona National AOB Champion Bull, exhibited by J.D. Sartwell, bred by Sartwell Brahman Herefords of Campbellton, Texas. Correction, Sartwell Brahman Ranch of Campbellton, Texas. Just a reminder that all of our champion and reserve champions, at the conclusion of the show, will make their way over to the west end of the cattle barn for their official backdrop photo with Mr. Nick Fitzsimmons of Perry, Oklahoma. We are now going to move on to class number 22, our cow-calf pair. Cows of 4 years of age and older. Cows must have been born December 31st of 2015 or earlier. We have a single entry. Entry number 6289, Shelby Prenovost of Surprise, Arizona. Just like to make a quick announcement that the cow-calf pair will also get to compete in the Supreme Drive tomorrow at 2:30 for the Supreme Animal overall.
Single entry here, and a good pair. Had a little bit of a rodeo there for a second. We got things collected, and I think you could really appreciate a lot of things about this cow and then her heifer calf inside. A cow that's probably a bit more in working clothes, but I like that one's feet. I like her comfort off of both ends. Plenty of look and extension from her shoulders forward. One that I think is genuine in terms of her upper rib shape. Maybe like to see a bit more drop and sweep to the base of her rib and be a bit fuller right there in her heart and forward, but a lot of good in that cow there. Obviously doing a nice job. Got a heifer calf inside, stout, powerful, bold-bodied, one that comes with matted feature at the surface. You maybe like to see her a shade smoother about her shoulder, but a lot of good in both these females here. Congratulations to these youngsters.
Congratulations to our champion cow-calf pair, exhibited by entry number 6289, Shelby Prenovost of Surprise, Arizona. Our champion female of the AOB show banner was sponsored by the Arizona National Livestock Show. The show halter that the champion female received was sponsored by the Bar-T Bar Ranch Incorporated, Mr. Bob and Judy Prosser. The reserve champion banner was it was sponsored by the Arizona National Livestock Show. Our champion bull banner was sponsored by the Arizona National Livestock Show. The show halter that the champion bull receives was sponsored by the Barty Bar Ranch Incorporated, Bob and Judy Prosser. And our reserve banner was sponsored by the Arizona National Livestock Show. That concludes our open show for today. We will return tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for the Open Angus Show